30 through 50, and then let's add a page. All right. So here we go. Everybody grab 30 through 50, and then add a page, and then paste it, and then you can just blow it up a little bit. All right, now here we go. Again, it is kind of tricky, but just watch. If you know how to add and subtract fractions, it's not really that bad. All right, now for question number 30, what I want to do is we need a common denominator. Does everybody agree with that? Right, so what we have to do is we have to see what the factors of this denominator are. All right, so somebody tell me what those factors are. I'm listening.
X. Wait. Minus 6. No.
Somebody help him.
Plus 2 minus.
Yes.
Yeah.
X minus 2 and X plus 6. Does everybody see that? Any questions? All right, so now if you paid attention yesterday, this isn't that bad. Somebody tell me what the common denominator would be. Tell me.
X minus 2, X plus 6.
That is exactly correct. So the common denominator is X minus 2 times X plus 6. Now, what do I have to multiply the first fraction by? So remember, I want you to just put a dot right there and put X plus 6. And then you can put an X plus 6 at the bottom. And that just kind of shows that you know we're just getting a common denominator. All right, so now we're going to put X minus 1 times X plus 6 minus parentheses X squared plus 4X minus 4. Now, I'm trying to show you all the work. The next problem, I'm going to skip a few steps. That's why I need you to make sure that you're following along and make sure you understand what I just did. Anybody have any problems with that? Anybody have any issues? Okay, so now I need to multiply that out. Now, when you multiply that out, remember, I'm kind of expecting you guys to do that mental math now. All right, everybody should be able to look at that and tell me it's just what?
X squared plus 5X minus 6.
Good. X squared plus 5X minus 6. Now we have to distribute a what?
Negative.
Distribute the negative. So it becomes negative X squared minus 4X plus 4 all over X minus 2 times X plus 6. Everybody okay with that? And now what do we have to do?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms. What happens to the X squareds?
They cancel.
They cancel. All right. Now, what about the 5X and the negative 4X?
It's X.
X. And then the negative 6
Negative 2.
and the positive 4 makes negative 2 over X minus 2, X plus 6. So now what happens?
X minus 1 over X.
The X minus 2's canceled. Beautiful. So your final answer after all that is just what?
1 over X plus 6.
1 over X plus 6. All right, now remember, I keep trying to tell you, it's not about writing down things. All right, make sure you're following me. All right, that was question number 30. So now what I want you to do is I want everybody to shrink that down so we can do the next problem. Now the next problem we're going to do is going to be question number 34. I'm sorry, 32. Now, if you understand that, now I'm going to try to show you a couple of little shortcuts. All right? So first of all, factor the denominator. We can't get around that. What does the denominator in the second fraction factor to? X minus 7, x plus 3. Perfect. So what is the common denominator now? Good job. X minus 7 and x plus 3. Now what do I need to multiply the first fraction by? X plus 3. So now just put the x plus 3 so you can see it. Now you have to multiply. When I multiply, what do I get? X. When I multiply, what do I get? Definitely not x squared plus 6. Go.
X squared plus 5x plus 6.
X squared plus 5x plus 6. Now, don't forget to distribute the what? Distribute the negative. When I distribute the negative, we get beautiful. Now's the time you speak up real quick, because I'm telling you it's getting harder as we go down the page. Anybody have any questions with that so far? Any questions? Any questions? Now we have to do what? Combine terms. So what happens? They cancel. Then what do I get? And then what? So I end up with x minus 7, hold up, x minus 7 over x minus 7 times x plus 3, and then that equals just what? Are you going to give me a right answer today?
I did.
1 over x plus 3. Look what you caused, Isabel. Threw him down the stairs, and now he's got some concussion. Now he hasn't answered a single question right. It's all your fault. All right. Here we go. All right. So now with that, a little bit harder. All right. We're going to do 34 now. All right. Now, on question number 34, it's a little annoying because we have to do what to both denominators? We have to factor. All right. So the first denominator factors to what?
X plus 3.
X plus 3, x plus 1. And then the second one is x plus 3, x minus 3. Any issues? Any issues? All right, so now equals, all right, now the hard part. What is common? What is common? Hold up.
X plus 3.
There is a common x plus 3, finally. All right. Now, I didn't say what's the common denominator. I just said what's common. Now, we've grabbed the x plus 3. Now, what's left?
X plus 1 minus 3.
Yes. So those have to be incorporated into the denominator, x plus 1 and x minus 3. Now remember what I'm trying to tell you. Speak up now. As soon as you get lost, you got to tell me. Anybody have any issues with why that is the common denominator? All right, so what do I multiply the first fraction by? What do I multiply the first fraction by?
X minus 3.
X minus 3, because that's the one that's missing. And what do I multiply the second one by? X plus 1, I think. Anybody have any issues with that? All right, now we're practicing our mental math. All right, I'm multiplying x minus 4 times x minus 3. Here we go. What is that? X squared minus 7x plus 12. Now, I want you, everybody, to take a look here. See this minus? I'm not going to distribute to the end, so I need you to put minus parentheses. That's where the mistake is made. All right, the mistake is made in distributing that negative. Now, what happens when I multiply x minus 1 times x plus 1?
Negative. Wait, no, this one.
X squared minus 1.
X squared minus 1. X squared minus 1.
Which is
Now I do what? Distribute the negative. All right, so when we distribute the negative, let's just make sure this becomes a positive, that becomes a negative, that becomes a positive. Now again, the reason why I circle them is because that reminds me that I did what? Changed the signs, or I distributed the negative. That is correct. Now it's just a matter of, can you combine terms properly? What happens to the x squareds?
Can we cancel?
So I'm left with
negative 7.
over exactly correct. Exactly. Any issues? Any issues? Good for you.
I was here yesterday, and why'd you multiply x minus 4 by x minus 3?
Because I had to get a common denominator. All right, so listen. The video's up. All right, that's a good idea, but try to listen now. All right, anytime you do fractions, you have to have a common denominator.
Could you multiply x minus 4 times x plus 1?
No, because there's already an x plus 1 in the denominator.
Um,
See, there's an x plus 1 and an x plus 3. So which one was missing? You with me? Okay. Just like over here, there's x plus 3, x minus 3. So which one's missing? That's why I multiplied by x plus 1. All right, come on.
When you cross out, whatever has that negative on the x squared?
The x squared and the negative x squareds cancel out.
Yeah. Would you mean instead of just the negative sign goes by?
Yeah, because it's negative 1 plus 1, which is 0. What?
Why on this one would you put like x plus 3, x plus 1, and x minus 3 all in the denominator instead of like just like why would you put x why would you?
Okay, so
combine
one more
x?
time. Let's talk about the common denominator just to make sure you understand me. Listen up. For a common denominator, the first thing you do is you select what's common. Let me give you an example. Let's say I said 1/4 plus, let's say I did 1/6. What's the common denominator? 12. But if you're doing, now look, I'm telling you, pay attention now. You might be much better at fractions after today. 4 is the same as what? 2 times 2. 6 is the same as 2 times 3. So how many are common? What number is common?
2.
2. And then you take everything else.
Oh, so you find like what's
Right. You take what's common, and then you have to bring down everything else. All right, that's why we did that. All right, it all goes back to just adding fractions, just with numbers. The same rules apply. Same rules. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead, shrink that down. All right, and now let's take a look at 36. Now, the reason why I want to highlight number 36 is, did everybody see the pain? All of the what?
negatives?
The negatives. So let's just go ahead. If you don't want to make a mistake, you can actually do what? Change this to plus. That would become a minus. That would be a plus. Plus. Now, of course, you don't have to circle them. I just circle them for my own, so I know I didn't make a mistake with changing the signs. All right? Now, let's go. Come on now. I'm tired of the same people answering the questions. I don't mind you guys answering the questions, but everybody else, you got to speak up too. All right, you got to speak up as well. So when I ask you what the factor is for the first fraction, you should be able to say it. And if you can't say it, that just means you're behind. All right? So again, what is the denominator factor to? I'm listening. Good, that's better. The second fraction, the denominator factors to?
X plus 2, X minus 2.
Good, x plus 2, x minus 2. All right, now I'm going to ask you what's a common denominator, and you should be able to rattle that off pretty quickly. All right, so here we go. Put an equal sign. Just put a big fraction bar. And the common denominator would be?
X plus 2, X minus 2, times X minus 4.
Now, either you know that or you don't. Anybody have any issues with why that's a common denominator? Okay, so now what do I have to multiply the first fraction by? So just come up here and put x minus 2. And the second fraction I have to multiply by?
X minus 4.
It's very simple. An x minus 4. All right, now we're practicing our mental math here, so please be careful. Negative x times positive x.
Negative x squared.
So I have a negative x squared. Now you're doing your smiley face. 2x, you got to be careful, and what?
Minus
No, plus 2x. That's how much?
4.
Plus 4x, and then what?
Minus 4.
Minus 4. All right, try to get the next one right. Multiply, you get negative x squared. Then what's the middle term?
5x.
Yep, positive 5x, and then what? Minus 4. Thank you. All right, combining terms now.
Squares cancel.
I don't think so.
It becomes a negative 2x squared.
Negative 2x squared, then what?
Plus 9x
Plus 9x, then what?
over minus 8.
Minus 8 over. Perfect. All right. And the numerator will not factor, okay? When you get to higher level math, they'll have you factor that and then cross out again. But generally right now, just leave it alone. I don't care.
I'm going to change the signs and everything. Why don't you change the signs on the bottom?
Okay, so that's a good question. Hey, so here we go. Here's a question. If I say negative 1/2, that's the same as 1 over negative 2, which is the same as negative 1 over 2. It is not the same as negative 1 over negative 2. If you distribute a negative on the top and bottom, you've just distributed a positive,
No.
right? What? Quick.
Why were the middle terms positive instead of like negative?
Because I multiplied. Remember, this together is a positive 2, and this makes positive 2. You got to look at the signs. Okay, now let me give you a second to do 38. All right, I'm going to pause the video for a second. I want everybody to try 38. I'll give you like 2 or 3 minutes. Let's see how far you get. If you get to the right answer, then you're very good. All right? All right, so for question number 38. All right, first and foremost, tell me about the factors for the first fraction. Go.
X plus 3, x plus 3.
Come on, speak up. And then the denominator on the second fraction.
Whoa.
Okay, simple as that. Okay? Now equals long fraction bar here. All right, the common denominator was
X plus 3 x minus 3.
2x plus.
X minus 3. Oh, okay.
you can write it as x plus 3 times x plus 3 times x minus 3, which is the same as x plus 3 squared times x minus 3. Anybody have any issues with that? Nobody? All right. So I multiply the first fraction by what?
X minus 3.
And the second fraction by?
X plus 3.
Squared.
I was thinking.
All right. Anybody have any issues with that? All right, so now, mental math. X plus 1 times x minus 3. X squared.
Minus 2x.
Oh, minus 2x minus 3.
And then,
A Latin guy.
look. Hey, listen. Seriously, if you don't want to do it, it's just better to be quiet. Seriously. I'm trying to get done so we don't have any homework. You're wanting to play around. I'm not interested in that right now. All right, so multiply the second one. What do we get?
Plus x squared minus x minus 12.
X squared minus x minus 12. Any issues with that? And now it's just combining terms. All right, so when I combine terms, what do I get? Very, very easy. Very easy. Anybody have any issues? All right, so let's go to as hard as it gets. Let's see how good I am. Number 50. Here we go. Now this looks a little bit more difficult because there are how many fractions?
3.
But it's all done exactly what?
The same.
It's all done exactly the same. Doesn't matter how many fractions. All right, so here we go. First fraction, the denominator. Second one.
X plus 1 x minus 3.
Perfect. And then the last one. All right, now you had to be paying attention in order to get the common denominator now. Equals. Okay, what do I multiply, or what's the common denominator? First of all, tell me let's find what's common.
X minus 3.
Now look what I'm doing here. I'm highlighting x minus 3. Do I see another x minus 3?
Yes.
Yes. So x minus 3. Then I'm going to highlight an x minus 2. Do I see another x minus 2? That's okay. So x minus 2. And then I'm looking at x plus 1. Is there a common x plus 1?
Yes.
Yep. So now we put x plus 1. And then the last one, x plus 3. Okay, so now there are 4 binomials that make it a common denominator. What's the matter?
Why don't you square it like you don't make it all the way to the same? Like on the other one, there were 2x plus 3 equals x plus 3 squared.
All right, I'm going to let you answer your own question. Shh. Shh, shh, shh.
Oh, because they were from the same. Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, because the x plus 3 and the x plus 3. Listen, guys, seriously, I'm working. So you guys, whatever y'all are doing, stop messing around so I can get through this. All right, I don't want to be distracted. You understand me now?
Yeah.
The x plus 3s are under the same fraction in the same denominator, and there's 2 of them. So you need 2 of them for a common denominator. All right, now let's go back. All right, that's the common denominator. So now you just have to ask yourself, what do I have to multiply the first fraction by?
X plus 2
Plus 1. And x plus 3 is 3.
Come on. X plus 1 and?
X plus 3.
Okay, who's confused? Come on.
I'm confused.
What?
Why do you multiply those 2 against 2?
Shh. Are you asking me why am I multiplying this here?
Yes.
Okay, so look at the denominator, please. What's in this denominator?
X minus 2x.
What do I need? I need that as a common denominator. So which ones are missing?
X plus 1, x plus 2.
That's exactly right. Right? Stop. Luke, do you understand that or not?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. So now I'm just going to do this. 2 parentheses x plus 1 times x plus 3 so I can show you all the steps. And then it would be a minus 4. And then what? What am I multiply the other one by?
X
Minus 2x plus 3.
I think x minus 2 and x plus 3. Is that correct? All right. So x minus 2, x plus 3. All right. So what's missing in the third one?
X minus 3, x minus 2.
X minus 3 and x minus 2. All right. Here we go. So now, to me, we're going to use our great mental math skills to multiply that out. And that would just be what?
2x.
Say it again?
2x squared.
No, I'm not distributing yet. I don't want to do too much. Leave the 2 alone, and then tell me what this multiplies again to.
Well, do you have to first do the x back?
Yes, tell me.
2x squared.
Okay, so I would prefer you just say x squared. You know what I'm saying? Because the 2 is outside the parentheses. I don't want you confused. You with me? I'm not distributing the 2 yet, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
So the middle term would be what, guys?
4x
Plus 4x, and then what?
plus 3.
Plus 3, close parentheses. Minus 4. Now multiply. What do I get?
X squared minus x.
X squared what?
Minus x.
X squared
Plus x.
plus x minus 6 plus 2 times
X squared minus 5x plus 6.
x squared minus 5x plus 6. Any issues with that? All right, now go ahead and distribute. What do I get when I distribute?
2x plus 8x
Come on,
Plus
plus
6.
keep going.
minus 4x squared minus 4x
Plus 24.
plus 2x squared minus 10x
Plus 12.
All over.
x minus 3x plus 2x plus 1.
All right, now last step is to simplify the numerator. All right, so when I simplify the numerator, what happens to the squares? Does everybody agree? They cancel them out. So again, just to make sure, 2x squared, negative 4x squared, 2x squared. All right,
Negative 6x.
so when I simplify, it becomes what?
Negative 6x plus 42.
Negative 6x plus 42 all over x minus 3, x minus 2, x plus 1, x plus 3. If you can do that, you're pretty good at algebra. Right? There's a lot there, a lot there. Common denominators, multiplying, distributing, reducing, all kinds of things. All right, there's a lot going on. All right, what time does the bell ring?
45.
Okay, so what do we have?
10 minutes.
13 minutes, guys. Listen, I'm done. All right, so I said there's no homework. All right, now the problem with me giving idle time is that gives you time to do what?
Forget.
Mess around. Right? Yeah. All you other guys that are messing around. Just sit and enjoy the last 10 or 12 minutes. All right? And if you don't know what you're doing, the best thing to do would be take a look at 50 and just redo 50 to see how good you are. Right? No homework. Sit, relax. It was a great day today. I thought that was kind of complicated, but we got it done. If you understand it, you don't need any practice. However, if you need some practice, how many more problems are there? A lot. And how many answers are there? A lot of the answers are there. So you can practice if you need it. Practice if you need it. But no messing around. Does everybody hear me? All right. Find something to work on.